Hey, so in this video, I would like to show a little bit of my gear or an overview of my setup, what I use on a day to day, at least to give you some inspiration on what you could get, what works for me, what could work for you. And I think there's some great stuff that I absolutely enjoy using. So let's get right into it. And with that in mind, let's begin with categorizing stuff. So the first thing, let's just get it out of the way, is your computer. Like that, if your work doesn't give it to you, you should spend as much money as possible as you can afford, of course. Never go beyond your means. As much money as you can afford to get hardware for your development. I don't think there's such thing with game development as a diminishing return curve. Um, I think the more capable your hardware is, the faster you will be able to develop and iterate, especially if you're looking into developing bigger titles. And to a certain point, your hardware will also enable you to get to bigger titles, right? One, like out of the gate, limiting factor is your SSD size, and definitely an SSD. Don't go for hard drives. You will just struggle. And your CPU will improve you compiling maps, compiling an fmash, just moving around, just opening a bunch of files and just having a bunch of things open at the same time, having the level editor on top of Chrome and so on. Of course, that CPU, of course, you need memory to support all that too. So I don't think for game development there's such thing as spending too much on just your PC. Of course, literally never go beyond the means. Buy what you can afford and just throw money at it. That's one of the few areas that you can actually do it. Most of the gigs in software development, you don't have to at all. Like a web developer can just work out of a Raspberry Pi. Not us. So definitely not us. So PC out of the way, just spend as much as you can. That's great. Just go with high core count, high RAM, big SSD, very good GPU. Just literally, there's not a lot you can skimp on, right? So with the PC out of the way, let's focus on the inputs and the outputs. For inputs, you're gonna have your mouse, your keyboard, your microphone, and your camera. That's what gets into your computer. And for your outputs, you're gonna have your monitor, speakers, and maybe a headphone. Let's get into those. So let's begin with inputs. Let me show my mouse now. For my mouse, I have this bad boy. It's the Logitech G Pro X Superlight 2. So it's USB-C now and it has a bunch of fancy features that really don't make a difference. But it's version 2. It's white. It's dope as heck. Highly recommend. It's the only wireless thing I have on my whole setup. And the biggest reason is I hate batteries. I hate batteries with passion. One, you got to recharge them, and that sucks ass. Second, they can easily just blow up. They have like a basically a lifespan. So whenever you get a device that has a battery, it basically comes with a best before label. It sucks, right? So they become spicy pillows all the time. That's a whole thing. There's a whole Reddit page just for spicy pillows. That's when your battery chemistry just gets out of control and blows up, and your device basically becomes unusable. So, but you know what sucks more than a battery? Missing a fucking headshot. So, with that in mind, they're not having the cord that pulls into your aim really makes a difference in shooters, which is mostly what I play. So, highly suggest a wireless mouse. It just makes sense, right? Not having something pulling constantly on what you're doing just makes total sense. So I make one motherfucking exception on this rule, which is this little fucker here. Highly suggest. Great mouse, great mouse. Forgot to mention, but the biggest reason I use it is it has great battery life. It has great software. G-Hub is pretty great. Updates easily. It is very, very, very low latency wireless. I think they promise even lower than wired because they can do a higher polling rate, USB 3 and blah, blah, blah. So highly suggest. The bad boy is absolutely great specs. Comes with a little bit of premium, but there's no free lunch. Now let me show my keyboard. Okay, next is my keyboard. This one, it's a little bit controversial because it's easy to make the argument that given you're a programmer, this is the tool of your job and that's how you express yourself. So you should spend as much money as possible on it. But I don't agree with that. Like I think there's diminishing returns here. At one point, it really doesn't make a difference. And just imagine like a racing car driver. They don't spend all their budget on the steering wheel. It doesn't work like that. It's not because it's what they're touching that is the most important part, right? So yes, it's very important. And I think getting something nice that doesn't slow you down, doesn't break apart easily, I think is pretty key. But going completely overboard and doing custom keys, that's you spend all your time and money into it, that's a little bit too much. With that in mind, I did get something real freaking nice. This is a Keychron Key-M. I'm gonna get the link in the description, but it's a Keychron, and basically all keyboards from Keychron are pretty great. So basically choose whatever suits you best. For mine is, I think it's 60% key. You know, it doesn't have the new pads. It's basically a TKL actually. No. It's a TKL. It's a TKL, 10 keyless. So it doesn't have the numpad. That's about it. So the rest is the usual. My wrists are fine, so I don't feel like I should be getting any of those ergonomics craziness. And I'm very, very, very fast on this keyboard. And I just don't see any reason to change to a different layout that would just fuck with my muscle memory. Not feeling like that. So highly suggest Keychron. Chinese, ships to you, gets to you very fast, very decent price, and just pretty great products and design. Now I'm going to show my camera. It's 100% overkill, but let me show you anyways. Finally, my camera. This is what I use as a webcam. It might sound a little bit overkill and I'm overdoing myself, but it probably is. But at least it's convenient. Like that, you might think I'm losing all my convenience with this kind of crazy setup, that I'm gonna join Zoom and I'm gonna have to set up all my lighting and get like ready for a YouTube video. That couldn't be further away from the truth. So this thing here, the only thing I have to do every meeting is just turn it on. So literally just flip this knob here, which literally doesn't take like more than 500 milliseconds, I would say. And it's also a privacy protection, right? If you always take your privacy screen off, like that's basically the same motion. So it's really as convenient as it gets. And then it's just a webcam. Like you can see on OBS, I just set up as a webcam. That's it. I connect a thingy that goes to the camera. It's a Camlink 4K. I'm going to put in the description. And then with that Camlink 4K, you can just hook up a mirrorless camera or DSLR camera that has a clean HDMI out. You can Google that to figure out what it means and what camera should you get for that. But yeah, connect that to the camera. Amazing quality. It's worth the price. Whenever we go out, I just take it off and go take amazing photographs of my kids. So it's basically a tool, right? You can capture YouTube videos, do meetings, take pictures of your kids. It's a very, very nice tool to have. It's going to last you a lifetime. There's things basically don't break, and when they do, they're repairable. So couldn't suggest more. And then on top here, I have a light. Am I saying, oh my God, Gabriel, is this a freaking, Hollywood studio? It is not. It's just a light. It's like $100 or so. It's from Elgato. And the biggest advantage of it is it's wireless. I really focus on convenience because it's my work, right? I'm not going to spend 10 minutes setting up for a meeting. And because it's wireless and it's an open API, you can actually send a HTTP request to it to turn it on and off. And with that in mind, I've created a C# application. I'm going to link it down below too. That when you click deactivate or activate in your webcam, basically when the webcam is activated or deactivated, it's going to try syncing the status of webcam to the light. So your webcam is off, the light's off. Your webcam is on, the light's on. So I can show you an example. Like I'm going to deactivate the webcam. In a second, it should turn off. There you go. I activate the webcam and it turns on. Beauty. Look at that. Deactivate, off. Activate, on. Deactivate, off. Activate, on. Look at that. This is amazing. So, absolutely convenient. I'm not crazy. Please don't send me to the hospital. I love you all. My final input, my microphone. For the microphone, I got the RE20 going. It's a staple of the industry in terms of microphones. It was highly used in all radio stations, basically. And nowadays it's used for a lot of podcasts and even for music as well. That's one very, very cool thing about microphones is there's no such thing as an old microphone that becomes bad. The technology really doesn't evolve much. So there's no reason to get the latest. Something usually from the 90s, the 50s, 60s, 70s. It means it's such a great design that's still around to this day of just how great it sounds, right? There's no such thing as a new violin that sounds absolutely amazing. That doesn't work like that. It's all about what the designers came up and how does it sound. And this one is absolutely amazing, right? You can hear some voice samples from other videos. It's highly worth the price. And I think it's very underrated. The SM7B, which is the usual you see all streamers using, is just, in my opinion, an inferior microphone in all regards. And this bad boy is mostly out of the water for the exact same price or something very similar. This mofo, absolutely great buy. Highly suggest. Let's go. And to connect the level up, I got this baby boy, the Moto M4 audio interface. Just so you know, with a microphone, you gotta get something to hook it up with. Sorry, with an XLR microphone, you gotta get something to hook it up. It's not like like I said, the staple microphones, which have been around since the 50s and 70s, naturally don't have USB. So they're just analog signals that have to be converted to the computer. They have to become ones and zeros, right? They're just electrical differentials before going to the computer. So this little box is responsible for making it an analog signal becoming ones and zeros to your computer, so you can record videos with it and make Zoom meetings, those long ass meetings with that bad boy. And it's also responsible for amplifying the signal. So you gotta get something pretty beefy if you want to use basically any microphone, right? And this one and most audio interfaces also come with a headphone amplifier, and this is absolutely amazing. The Moto interface has a really great headphone amp, which will, like when we get to the headphone section, will absolutely be a great addition to your gear for sure. By the way, Moto means Mark of the Unicorn. It's a US made and US company. It's actually made in the USA, not just designed in the USA. So the knurling on them is absolutely fucking sick. Those things feel just amazing. Highly goddamn suggest. Forgot to mention, he also has like all those bars going up and down. They're really mesmerizing to watch. You're just coding and bopping to some music, and you can see the bars, and it just remind yourself that they have a cool ass audio interface that have some cool ass graphs. I really like it. I just enjoy it. Maybe I'm a child, I don't know, but it just looks cool. Looks cool. For outputs, we have my speakers, edifiers, like $100 or so. Absolutely goddamn amazing upgrade over regular monitor speakers or any off-the-shelf $10 kind of speakers. They're very nice. They are pretty neutral, a little bit of bass. You can toggle between completely flat and a little bit like V-shaped. So they sound amazing. They have a balanced input, so I connect to my balanced output on the Moto, and everything works like a freaking charm. Highly suggest, amazing quality, perfect for meetings. One thing you might not know is that you might think because you have the speakers on, people are going to be hearing themselves on the meeting, but Zoom at least has great echo cancellation and feedback rejection. So it actually, when people are talking, it doesn't go in your microphone. Like Zoom doesn't play it. Zoom is able to cancel that out and realize it's just whoever is speaking coming back to your microphone and just cancel that. So to not have headphones on the meetings, which can make you look like a dork, just take the headphones on, pop the speakers. No one's going to even notice, and you're going to look slick as hell. Now, my headphones. I have my Sennheiser headphone. This was absolutely one of my... Don't get me wrong, like, they're freaking amazing. I don't think there's any headphone that I would like more than those. But even then, I think, given how much value I give to my money, I think I overspent it. This was a bit much. It was like $600, and they're insanely good and worth the price. But that's too much. For $200, you can get those Beyerdynamics DT770s, and they are 99% there. I would say 98, 95% maybe. There's definitely a huge difference in quality, but there's also a even bigger, more huger difference in price. I don't think it's quite worth it. I have balanced cables on a balanced amp on a balanced interface, and the amplifier is absolutely amazing. But I'm not sure if spending all this money on headphones is correct. It's just plain, it just feels wrong spending like $600,000 on headphones. And I don't think I made a good decision with those. If I would go back in time, would I buy them? No. I think I would have a very happy life without them. But I'm going to say that I have a happier life with them. So go figure. The duality of man, am I right? Before I forget, this is a Sennheiser HD 660S. Absolutely amazing headphone. If you have fuck you money to spend, absolutely worth the price. If you like more like neutral, warm, kind of airy sound, pretty great. DT770, the best closed back, of course, below $5,000. So the best closed back for a reasonable amount of money. They sound pretty great. They isolate sound is extremely well, extremely comfortable, worth every penny. That one I can comfortably say worth every freaking penny. Just go and get it. It's absolutely sick. And my monitor. For the monitor, really nothing special. I don't care much about color accuracy or anything. It's just a high refresh rate monitor that I can do some gaming on. It's a 1440p, which for a 32-inch kind of gives me a good pixel per inch ratio that it's good for reading. I have a random article set up. So it doesn't fatigue my eyes. It looks sharp enough, but not too sharp, and things are not too small. I think it's a good ratio. 32 inches, 1440p, high refresh rate, does everything I want, and it was the cheapest in this section. Absolute great buy. I have a second monitor here. I think having too many monitors, at least for game development, doesn't help that much. You can say, oh, I work on a multiplayer game, I have 3 windows at the same time. Just use Alt Tab. You're not going to use all the windows at the same time. You don't need to see all of them at the same time. At most, you have to see 2 of them at the same time. And that's my point. You save on desk space, you have a good gaming monitor for you. Because one alternative you can use is just get a 4K 40-inch monitor and divvy up into 1480p screens. It's what I did before. The problem with that is those monitors are usually not good for gaming, either because they don't have a right refresh rate, or if they do, they're just goddamn too big. So playing with them just sucks ass in general. So 1440p high refresh rate, 1080p high refresh rate, both big. This one's basically my meeting monitor, so I just have my camera and lighting and monitor whole setup here. That's my secondary monitor, and then this is my main monitor. That's about it. Not a lot of secret to it. Finally, I have this USB hub here. I think this is a great buy for people who have multiple workstations. And do mind, I'm talking about a USB hub, not a KVM switch. A KVM switch will involve also switching video inputs, and that can cause all sorts of troubles. You can lose variable refresh rate. There's input lag. It just sucks in general. With that in mind, USB hubs work pretty well. It's has very little compromises, and this thing's like just $30 or so, and you can switch between 2 computers. And then I plug in my keyboard, mouse, camera, and audio interface, and that's it. All my in and outs in one bad boy, one button to switch away. For my PC, actually, I'm going to go into that. There's one trick I do have, which is I have a secret room to put it separate. If you can't do that, if you have a spare room, or you can just shove your PC and either remote into it or hardwire USB and display to it, absolutely game changer. Highly suggest. Here's how it looks. That the workstation that I switched to is actually not in this room. It's pretty cool. It's in my Narnia room. It's a freaking secret passage I have here. This is my rack. Maybe one day I'm gonna go through it, but it has all my networking here, router, server, Plex, sailing the high seas. Let's go. And my workstation is actually this one. It's actually rack mounted. But usually it's like far away there, it was far away there, so it would make even less noise. But I thought it was dope to just get it on the rack and look nice. But the biggest advantage is it makes no sound. Even if it was noisy, it was in a different room. So very, very cool in that regard. It makes heat in a different room, so in the summer, I'm gonna hell appreciate it. And I just get USB and HDMI through a hole in the wall, and we call it a day. Check it out. Let me show the hole in the wall. That's how it looks. You can see it's basically done by a professional, there's no dents on the wall or any scratch on the paint. It's completely level with the socket, You can see it's definitely the extreme professional that made this. I love this guy. Definitely not myself. That's it. I hope you liked it. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, hit a like, hit the subscribe button, and let's be the best version of ourselves to give out to the world. Let's go!